Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the esteemed FaceTime with Leaders and Initiative by World Development Corporation. My name is Tanay All, and I'm an anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry veterans to come together to share their knowledge, ideas, thoughts, and best practices with one another, as well as with upcoming industry leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings of all our industry stalwarts. We hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leader interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders assist everyone, right? They help us to identify, nurture, and work on trade secrets that have already proven a success formula for so many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge sharing community. We have one such industry veteran on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Kasturi Venkatesh. We welcome you on the show, sir.
Thank you.
He stands as a leader with expertise seasoned for nearly 3 decades, steering organizations through transformative change and sustainable growth. As a master strategist, he has successfully leveraged both existing and emerging technologies to drive innovative solutions in the infrastructure space. His decades-long career has culminated in the form of business consulting for two successful startups in the realm of solution enhancement and consulting, which showcase his strategic acumen and vision for the networking domain focused on infrastructure and security. Under his leadership, the startups have developed robust strategies and offers for cybersecurity solutions across diverse verticals such as IT, healthcare, and BFSI. His focus on driving delivery readiness, standardization, and integration of frameworks has positioned the ventures for significant growth with a potential business trajectory exceeding 150 million over the next 3 years. These initiatives also highlight his adeptness at securing Series B funding and fostering partnerships with global clients and industry experts. Domain knowledge and executive leadership experience are being applied for executive coaching to executives across IT, manufacturing, and healthcare domains. So, Mr. Venkatesh, to begin with, could you let our viewers know in brief about your career journey so far, including important career milestones, decisive professional steps, etc.?
Sure. Thank you so much. I have had the privilege of working with both startups and very large established brands in my career spanning 30 years. All my 30 years has spanned across software development, training, and a large part of it on networking services and support. My initial 15 years was as an individual contributor with global customers. I learned the skills of handling customers, solving customer problems, and enhanced my technology skills, learned collaborating with different teams and people in this role. I experienced myself of what it means to have an end customer impact. And with that strong foundation of technology and hands-on experience, I switched to a leadership role. My next 15 years has been in leadership roles across services like professional services and technical services delivery. Today, we know it as CX, customer experience. I have also led non-engineering roles like project management and business development in my leadership. In the last 4 years plus, I have been into CX, customer experience, services, product management for infrastructure. And post that, I have been with startups, and that has enabled me to polish my skills in areas of cybersecurity and sharpen my entrepreneur spirit about risk taking and being self-driven. In my opinion, to your earlier question, the decisive professional steps that I have taken and the various career milestones are interleaved. They are not isolated actions, at least in my case. Continuous learning and networking has always been fundamental to my professional growth. Some of the moves have been planned, which I did, while some have happened due to organizational changes over which I had no influence. How many times have we heard from our peers or colleagues saying, oh, too many changes, or I'm stuck with the same old function, same old role, I'm bored. In fact, as these changes happened, I saw opportunities in these changes on which I had no control, as I said, and I grabbed them for my development and growth. I have looked out for opportunities in a planned way when I made changes to learn and grow. Coming to some of the key milestones and learnings that you are asking, shifting from software development as my first job and training to networking services as an individual contributor is the one I recollect. I loved network design, implementation, troubleshooting, traveling, being on customer side, solving their problems. I gained my technical expertise here. The depth and breadth was my passion. I always wanted to be one of the most sought after engineers, and that's what drove me in this particular role. I moved on from an IC role to a leadership role, and that was a pretty big milestone. This was not a planned one, but today I have no regrets either. Took up additional responsibilities as I grew and became a global leader as I grew. It is here that I learned to define clear strategic vision, which is very essential for a leader. I learned to adapt and lead by example, became resilient as I incubated and led very different architecture teams within professional services. My next move, I remember in 2011 to 2014, was from technical delivery to leading PMO office and BDM business development delivery leadership roles across 3 different regions or theaters. This role enabled me to get end-to-end experience and exposure from day 0 to day 2, what we also know as pre-sales to customer handover. It helped me expand my business acumen. I learned new stuff as I had myself never operated as a project manager because I was always as a consulting engineer. And I think as a business development manager, I had never done something similar. So I think there was a great learning in this role. It helped me connect with a broad range of stakeholders in my organization, which I leveraged later for my business benefits in my future roles as I grew. Around the 2019-2020 timeframe, once again, there was an org change. I had no option, or rather, I should say, I had an option to continue in delivery. But having experienced service delivery and strategy for close to a decade plus, I chose to move into product management to learn the nuances of offering and solutioning. What does it mean to have plan, build, and design? It meant to move out of my comfort zone from delivery to product management. But I think I learned a lot. The ability to simplify, being innovative, and being very metrics driven were tested in this role. So in summary, when I look back on my journey, I would say I had 4 key transitions, but my focus and passion has always been to learn and grow.
Sir, our viewers would like to know more in detail about your executive coaching.
Sure. I am on my journey to getting certified as an executive coach with CFI. Currently, I have 6 coaches across IT, healthcare, and manufacturing industry. Few of them are pro bono as a part of my internship and certification process, and a couple of them are paid engagements. I am into leadership behavioral coaching. Here, coaching is a very individualized development process where I, as a coach who is an experienced professional, will work with the coachee to identify ways in which he or she can hone their strengths and deploy them to maximum benefit. I, as a coach, will help them discover their path. Given the fact that it's a one-on-one nature and a safe space between the coach and the coachee, it creates for honest exploration, reflection, and change. It has the ability to provide highly customized development like no other intervention is there. Coaching helps to develop capabilities and new ways of thinking that will have a lasting impact on the coachee. But in this journey, it is very interesting that I realized that I have been self-reflecting and learning a lot about myself. This is something that I am very passionate about, and I want to continue moving forward in my career. It is learning how to learn. I would say coaching is about learning how to learn, which means developing skills and habits of self-reflection that will ensure that the process of learning continues even after the coaching engagement is over, because this typically is a one-year engagement with the coachee. And coaching has to be used wherever appropriate and has to be skillfully integrated with other interventions. There must be a need for coaching. And a lot of these are either the individual has voluntarily selected a coach or an organization has opted for one. So it's been an interesting journey. It's just been around 8 months, and I'm very passionately looking forward to the next half of this journey, or I would say the journey ahead.
Yes, sir. So, what are some values and principles that you regard as the building blocks of a successful professional life?
Oh, that's a great question. I have got asked that question during my coaching sessions because we do discuss about values and principles. And some of the values and principles have been acknowledged during a planned 360 or unsolicited feedback that I have received in my 3 decades of working as a leader in the corporate. There are 5 values or principles that have helped me in my building blocks, or I should say that I stand by and I value them a lot. Integrity and being honest is the first one. Being persistent and hardworking. Gratitude and being humble. Authentic and empathetic. I have always known to be a very authentic and a very empathetic leader. I think last but not least, kindness, but kindness coupled with fairness. And one very important thing that I have realized in my journey of corporate leadership and now on the journey of executive coaching, it's very important for all of us to understand when our managers and our leaders give us feedback, it's not about compromising on these values and principles. In my very early or initial days of the journey, I used to think it's about compromising on values or our principles. It is not. It is about how one aligns, adapts, and modifies his or her behavior for better results. And I have never had a situation where I've had to compromise on these 5 values. So I would say these 5 values have been my building blocks, which have helped me to be a successful leader.
Yes, sir. As someone who has been in the corporate world for about 3 decades, do you believe that with the changing generation, there is a change in people's work approach for good or bad? And what advice do you have for the newer generation?
Yes, I think there is surely a change in the way people work. Thanks to emerging technologies and the power of internet and connectivity, and of course, the thought process of the people itself. We all need to change. We all need to change and adapt to the changes of the corporate world and how we live. We have seen that between 2020 and 2022 when COVID hit us. I think it's very tough to say whether it's for good or bad, because I feel there are examples of both, and these are very circumstantial. But I'm very happy to share a few examples or few learnings from my experience of the last 3 decades of what I would like to give to the next generation. Focus on the skills the employers need. Update and cross-skill yourself for the changing needs of this industry. And I'm not necessarily talking IT industry alone. It applies to every other industry and vertical. Technology will keep changing, but skills are permanent. Learn the basics well. They are the foundation. Employers today are looking for flexibility from the employee. They want an optimistic attitude and a very team-oriented mindset. We as individuals need to have can-do attitude, and I think that's what corporates and organizations like. The few other things I would like to highlight is follow your passion, have clear goals and clarity to get there. If you are challenged, it is recommended to have a good mentor. Own the stuff. It's not about how big or how small the task is on hand. It's about owning it, being creative to solve that problem in a timely manner. Take risks. It's okay to fail. Ask yourself, how am I different and better than my peers in the industry? How can I be better? How can I be different? Ask this to yourself. This is not a competition. It's a journey. There are various modes to learn. And one particular mode of learning from others' mistakes and observing the feedback given to others is something that's worked very well with me. See if that helps you. The most important thing for young folks today, right now, I think is about adaptability. Knowing that even if their first job or first experience or their first project isn't good, it is not end of the world. They can still set themselves up for success. You have a long career ahead of you. You have a journey of 25, 30 years, whatever you choose to work for. I think the ability to articulate is very important, and as important or maybe more important than your knowledge, the technical learnings that we gather during our academics, during our experience and communication. This ability to articulate is very key. Ability to apply the technical knowledge to solve customer problems is key. There is a thin line, I have realized, between can do versus able to do. I think be on the other side, be in the can or be on the side where you're able to do it. Not saying I can do it. Are you able to do it? And how are you able to do it? And I think one of the important things that I have observed with the recent generation is be open and acknowledge the feedback provided by peers, by seniors, and self-reflect on them. Because as you embark on your journey in your career here, you will face significant challenges and you need to stay motivated. You have to be creative. You have to be optimistic to shine through. And somewhere the experience of your seniors, whether it's in the technical side or on the leadership side, and self-reflecting on it will be helpful. It has been very helpful for me, and I really thank to all my great managers and my mentors who have helped me get where I am. Nothing comes easy. Be patient, because that's one thing I observe in the current generation. Don't get carried away by peer pressure, but instead, I think focus on your strengths. Have the self-belief and be persistent towards your goals. After all, this is a journey. You need to enjoy it. You need to feel proud of the same when you're done with this journey. That's what I would say to the younger generation.
So, what is your observation on the evolution of cybersecurity with the advent, especially with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, all of these new technologies, sir, Web 3.0? What changes do you foresee?
This is a pretty complex question, because whatever you are mentioning here, cybersecurity, IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, big data, I think everything is emerging. Everything is the latest and greatest. A lot of research is still going on. I'll share a few points or the little I know about this area. Over 70% of the business establishments have transferred themselves into digital enterprises by adopting cloud computing or mobile computing environments while they're embracing all these technologies such as AI, ML, blockchain, IoT, and the list goes on. Overall, the evolution of cybersecurity is becoming critical because data is the key today. You can maybe say data is the new oil, like where oil was a few years back, a few decades back. Data is the key. And cybersecurity is becoming very complex because of the exponential growth of interconnected devices, the systems and the networks that we have in place. This is exacerbated by advances in the digital economy and infrastructure. It will be a top priority for all businesses. In fact, it is a top priority for all businesses. And it's always a huge opportunity for individuals pursuing a career in this space, in cybersecurity and the related adjacencies. Adaptation, innovation, and collaboration between this entire ecosystem is very essential for effectively addressing the challenges of cybersecurity in this increasingly connected digital world, I should say. And I'll take a few examples of what I mean by this. When we talk about artificial intelligence, AI is a very powerful technology that helps cybersecurity teams automate repetitive tasks, accelerate threat detection and response. And I think more than anything else, it improves the accuracy of their actions to strengthen the security posture against various security issues and cyber attacks. For instance, if we take cloud, a very emerging area, cloud and current cloud infrastructure architecture, it is a 3-layer architecture. Each layer is at risk from a range of vulnerabilities introduced either by programmers or by the service providers. The disparate handling of data makes these crimes, such as cyber theft and cyber fraud, more complex to track within the cyberspace. These attacks are all characterized by a very high level of sophistication that calls for need of adopting artificial intelligence or intelligent agents to combat them because of the complexity and the speed with which and the magnitude of data that needs to be handled. If we take conventional cybersec prevention technologies, they use fixed algorithms and physical devices such as sensors. Thus, they prove to be ineffective at containing this new cybersecurity threats or cyberspace threats. For instance, the earlier generation of intrusion detection systems or antivirus devices that we had were designed to identify viruses by scanning its bit signature. There was a basic assumption that this concept that the virus has the same structure and bit pattern in all instances. These signatures and algorithms are therefore fixed. Although there is a catalog of signatures today, which is updated on a daily basis into these devices as the attacks are changing, the sophistication and regular release of these vast malware makes this approach very ineffective. Trying to update your signatures on an ongoing basis doesn't help. However, if we take AI and try to see how it can help in cybersecurity, the introduction of signatureless approaches that are being discussed, that are being already, I should say, applied. The signatureless approaches are capable of detecting and mitigating malware attacks using newer methods, such as behavioral detection, and AI has been very effective. It has been really effective. I think the complexity changes, and there is a lot of debate going around this when you bring in IoT or where you bring in, I would say, blockchain. There's a lot of debate on whether blockchain is helpful how helpful it is in cybersecurity. And there are pros and cons being discussed and a lot of research going on in this. With the advent of blockchain in cybersecurity, business can now authenticate devices and users without the conventional methods of passwords. If we take traceability, decentralized storage, I think with blockchain, it will be an added advantage. Centralized networks are often vulnerable to cyber attacks because they tend to have few IP addresses or a range of IP addresses, which hackers can easily penetrate using relatively simple schemes such as phishing.
Yeah.
But once the hacker is inside, the cyber criminals can cause very extensive damage through ransomware attacks, which we have seen in news and articles in the last 3 or 4 years on large corporates. So when I think of blockchain, the decentralized nature of blockchain presents, I think, a possible solution, as these complicated networks are far more difficult for hackers to access in that case. So with a very decentralized identity, what we call as DID, users have digital identity wallets, with identity wallets that store the proof of their identity in a single location, which they can use to grant or deny access to third parties on the network. I think just building databases or applications on blockchain alone won't necessarily make them invulnerable. It won't. I think the process of building blockchains can be enhanced when artificial intelligence with blockchain and cybersecurity comes together, so that then we can leverage this combination to detect and prevent manipulation and nefarious attacks on the data. So I think it gets far more complex than what I'm saying. And of course, we can talk on for hours around this. It's a very interesting area. So that's some of my viewpoints in short on where I have seen and what I have read and where we have seen these being applied today with startups that I am being associated with. But there's a huge opportunity, I must say, in this particular field of cybersecurity, AI, ML, blockchain, IoT, and these coming together. Huge opportunity for the next generation and for all of us.
Great, sir. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will truly inspire future leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today, and wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably has expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure.